everyone. I'm your host, Kainath, and welcome back to another podcast of Longevity Blueprint. Today, we are focusing on a specific age of the people, especially at the age of 40s. And it is the age of attention for the medical expert because this is the exactly age for the metabolic crossroads. And today, again, we are joining with our medical specialist, Dr. Flora, who is the founder of LipoFlora as well. And we have a very special guest, Joe. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us. I feel well. I've just turned 40 and I haven't noticed any changes just yet, but I am really interested in metabolic and hormonal changes in my body. I'm really wanting to think about my life in my 50s and my 60s and my 70s and 80s and being well for these decades. And so I want to be able to be independent. So Flora, I really want to talk about aging in the 40s and how we can prepare and be proactive in these couple of years of aging.
All right. Thank you, Kena, Joe. It's good to be here again. Yeah, it's a very good mindset, Joe, to start thinking about how to live well, even before getting to your 50s and 60s and not waiting to be ill before doing something. So it's really a good mindset. And I think it's good that you're thinking about that now. And we're going to discuss today the strategies that could help us to achieve this.
Dr. Flora, what do you think? What changes can happen at the age of 40?
Okay, so we call it like a metabolic crossroad because in the 40s, that's the time metabolism gradually starts to slow down. That age as well, in women, that's around the time they get into perimenopause, and some people gradually start getting into menopause. So because of the hormonal changes, things start to slow down gradually. And this change in hormones can lead to different things. You find it more difficult to lose weight. You tend to gain fat more, and you tend to start losing muscle, which really is what does help your body in general. So because you're not able to maintain the muscle, it does affect different aspects of your life. And this includes reduction in insulin sensitivity, as well as, potential to start developing some chronic diseases if you don't do the right thing. So it's really good to start thinking about these things and doing the right thing before anything wrong begins to happen. So a very, very good way to start your 40s. Yeah.
So to keep the muscles healthy, definitely you need to give them a right amount of fuel or a specific nutrition to your body. So Joe, you mentioned that you have starting adapting some life health changes and the lifestyles that's going to help you to improve in future. So can I ask what kind of lifestyle habits you have developed that can help our audience as well?
Yeah, sure. So I started thinking about my health when I was in my mid-30s. And for me, it was really about exercising and doing things that were manageable, things that I could do really easily that didn't feel like they were a chore. So exercising 2 to 3 times a week, making sure that I had adequate, access to food, like good nutritional food, and working really closely with my GP to sort of put me on that right track and teach me what I need to know in order to be able to take care of myself, but then also to be able to take care of my children and set a really good example for them.
That's a really good thing to do as well. In this age group, we also re-emphasize more on the type of food you should be eating. It's so important to get enough protein because, as we all know, protein is very important for your muscles. So protein is one of the major things we do recommend, but also we want a balanced metabolism. We want you to be able to prevent chronic inflammation, which could be quite a low-grade inflammation that does lead on to developing some chronic conditions as you get older. And that's why we talk about anti-inflammatory diet, as well as making sure you're having enough fiber, enough protein. You need to have the good fats, especially those that are high in the omegas, especially omega-3. And making sure you're having enough polyphenols in your diet. That's the nutrition aspect. But apart from that as well, we do emphasize on exercise, which is very, very important. And when we talk about exercise, we want you to, have your daily walks, brisk walks and cardio exercises, but in addition also strengthening exercises. So these things do help to maintain your muscles, and as well as doing that, making sure you're finding time to relax, sleep better, and just take care of your mental health as well. All these things do help. And so this is the time to start working on them.
So when we talk about some like food sources, especially if we want to take the protein from certain foods, because not everyone is good in researching to find out the exact nutrition. So what are those food sources that are easily available in our kitchen and we can choose and it can satisfy our need?
Okay. So let's start with protein, for instance. We talk about protein, but we want a complete protein. Okay, we want to make sure that in each diet you're having complete protein, but also we want to make sure that the protein you're having is good protein. Because some people will tell me, oh yeah, I have a lot of protein. Yeah, I take ham, I take mince meat, I take this. These are all protein. But looking at the labels do matter as well, because you could be taking protein, but the protein you're taking is bad because of the way it's prepared and because of what it contains. Some of them they have the protein, but they're high in saturated fat, they're high in sodium. And then you'll say you're taking protein, but you're actually harming your body. So you really need to make sure the protein is good quality protein. Now, when we talk about protein, one of the things I do like is eggs, for instance. Eggs is quite good because it also contains choline, and which is quite good for your brain. So eggs is a good source of protein that is available in the kitchen, for instance. Another thing is like salmon, your fish. Salmon is quite good. Fish in general is good, but I really like salmon, possibly because of certain research that has been done with salmon, and the peptides in salmon do really help with aging better. And it does help with the skin. It does help with aging in general. So that's why I really have a kind of tilt towards salmon, and it's also high in omega-3. So it does help with your inflammation as well, maintaining a healthy inflammatory response. So that's another thing. And then we talk about the plant proteins like the soy, your lentils, and those kind of food. They are quite good. Apart from these ones as well, you could also take some chicken. But when we talk about chicken, we want the chicken breast. We don't want the skin. And the way you prepare the food also matters. So it's if you're having protein and then you're going deep frying the meat and all that, you're still filling yourself with a lot of saturated fat, which is not good. And so the way it's prepared is one of the key things. So that's for the protein. And then making sure you're also having a lot of veggies, especially the green veggies, is quite important because you do have quite a bit of antioxidants in your veggies. And also your fruits. In particular, I talk about berries a lot because they do have quite a lot of antioxidants. So these are examples of things you can have in your kitchen. Nuts also are good, but not too many nuts. And then, just having lower carbohydrate meals and avoiding the ultra-processed packaged meals.
Even I have seen people who are taking more eggs twice a day or thrice a day.
Okay, like how much eggs are
For
you
instance,
taking?
like I know one of my cousin, like he's taking like eggs twice a day in the morning. I mean, 2 eggs in the morning and then 2 at the night. So even my sister, because when I was just convincing her, oh, okay, you should be taking more protein, then it's gonna good for your muscles. And she, oh yeah, I'm eating eggs because I'm eating 2 eggs in the morning and I'm taking the egg white at night as well. So I'm not sure whether the egg's gonna fulfill the need of protein or.
No, just taking 2 eggs in the morning and then egg white at night doesn't really fulfill the protein intake you need. We talk about protein, we want it to be spread across meals, across breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't want the whole protein eaten in one meal. But look, if you have an egg, for instance, an egg has 6 grams of protein. So 2 eggs is just about 12 grams of protein. That's not enough protein for the day. And you also need to have a balanced diet. It's not, like I mentioned, protein is important, but protein alone is not the best way to eat. So you really have to balance it to help your metabolism and to help your body fight this chronic inflammation. So it has to have the right amount of protein. 2 eggs in the morning is not a bad idea. But that shouldn't just be your only meal. You have to have other sources of protein to make it up. So that's where the catch is.
Yeah. And I have seen these days people are talking about the creatine. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned about creatine sometime when I was chatting with you. What was your question on creatine?
I did. Creatine is huge on social media at the moment. And it's also being, there are lots of products that I see advertised on TV that have got added creatine or extra creatine. So things that you would have taken on their own, but now they come with creatine. And I've heard that my own research is divided. So some research says that it isn't good for you. And then other research that I've read has said that it is good for you and that it helps with your brain and keeping your brain healthy. But I would love to understand whether A, it's good for you, and B, how you should take it and when you should take it and how much you should take of it.
And I want to add one more question. I mean, should we taking the creatine individually or with other things as well?
Okay. The research on creatine, like you said, is mixed. But I think it's because for you to start creatine, I think you really need to talk to your doctor to make sure it's suitable for you. For instance, if you do have issues or potential to have kidney issues, you should be very careful with creatine. So, but if you're healthy, and it's not really for everyone, because you can still get creatine from food. You know, you can get creatine from, for instance, meat and things like that, animal protein. You can get some creatine. But perimenopause, 40 years and over, I think addition of creatine is not a bad addition to your diet, at least watching what the research says. But creatine on its own doesn't do the magic. It needs to be combined with having the complete adequate protein as well as exercise and maintaining your metabolism. It doesn't act just on its own. And it's good also for people who are active, you know, because it does support your muscles and help you to build more muscles. So it's good, especially when you're active. So if you're on creatine, you should actually also increase your level of activity, do more resistance training, and make sure you're having adequate protein while balancing out your whole metabolism. Otherwise, it doesn't do just magic on its own. And yes, like to your point, yeah, there has been some research that links creatine to better memory and things like that. So yeah, it's not a bad addition. But look, creatine intake should not be too high. It's not about a loading dose of creatine. It should be maintaining it around 3 to 5 grams a day, not more than that, because you don't want to have any associated risks with that.
Can I ask if you have a healthy diet and you take natural protein, you do your veggies, you have your fruit, your healthy fats and things like that, is there enough creatine in through having a healthy natural diet to support metabolism, brain health, or is it extra creatine that helps to where you start to feel the pluses of creatine?
Yeah. So creatine is not a must-have. You understand? It's not a must-have, but it could be beneficial. But it's not a must-have. So you don't have to have creatine if you're eating well. But adding a little bit of creatine, like I said, maximum of 5 grams daily, don't exceed that, wouldn't do much harm. It could help.
You did talk about metabolism while you were talking about creatine. Yeah. And one of the things that I've been interested to also learn about is metabolism and it's slowing down. And so we often hear that 40s is when your body really starts to change. And one of those bigger changes is metabolism. So does metabolism start to slow once you hit 40?
Actually, it's a complex thing, but yes, it does gradually start to slow down, unfortunately. But we can do something about that. So being more proactive about that, like you're now beginning to think about that and do something about that, is a good thing. So as you hit 40, yes, because of the hormonal changes, like I mentioned before, the perimenopausal changes and stuff like that, it does start to affect your metabolism because of the loss in muscle mass. So you're gaining more fat mass, and this does affect your metabolism. So it's a real issue that we all need to know about, but not be afraid of. It's just being proactive about that to do what we're supposed to do. Getting more active, eating better, being conscious of what we eat, and trying to take care of our bodies. These things do help the metabolism. Yeah.
And so we talk about muscle loss as well.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a problem as we start to get into our 40s and 50s? We know we start to lose muscle. We've known for many years that once you get into your 40s, you start to lose a certain percentage of muscle tone every year. Yeah. Is that really an issue?
It is an issue if you don't address that because, like I just mentioned again, that loss of muscle does affect your metabolism. And that's the problem. So insulin sensitivity reduces. You start to gain more body fat. It does predispose you to more chronic health conditions, including cardiovascular conditions. So we really need to be proactive about that in our 40s, and beyond.
In a nutshell, like we need to keep balance, not even the diet. We need to be proactive in terms of exercise as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I believe it's a very good information to share with. And I just want to ask one more thing when we talk about the muscle loss. So I believe it depends on routine to routine and person to person.
Yeah.
Because some people, they are not that much active and they are coming from the different ethical background, different genetics. Do you think the genetics affect as well?
Yeah, there is a role of genetics in how we age. Yeah. So some people, because of their genes, may tend to age faster than others. Yeah. But the issue with genetics is just I would say loading the gun. So that's the genetics. Yeah. But what you do can influence the genetics. And that's when we talk about lifestyle modification. So for instance, you could have the gene to have type 2 diabetes in your family. It doesn't mean you will have type 2 diabetes because of the way you live your life. So that's the aspect we want to change, because changing that does really help our genes to behave better. So the gene is there, but the gene will behave itself because of what you are feeding the gene. That's the difference.
All right. So for instance, if somebody is having a family history of diabetes type 2, so definitely the kids or upcoming generation is more prone to develop diabetes type 2. But if they are focusing on the healthy diet, and they're active and they are using some healthy nutrients, so they can prevent themselves for having diabetes in future.
Exactly. That's just the point. Yeah. So we don't need to be afraid of the genetics. We just need to modify the genetics by what we do.
Joe, you were talking about the proteins that are available in the market, and you mentioned that they are not changing for last many years.
Yeah.
So do you think that with the passage of time, the environment affects a lot on our body system and metabolism?
So I think all along, the focus has always been on protein, because there's a lot of, we all know that we lose muscle. And the protein helps with muscle building. But the problem is in the market, these proteins are there, but because people are just focusing on protein, they're not looking at what else is in the package. So because you could be having, for instance, kind of a protein powder or whatever, but what else is mixed with it? There could be other things in that protein shake or that protein powder that will be causing you to have other issues and chronic inflammatory conditions. And that's why we talk about reading your labels. So it's not just about protein. And that's particularly why what led me to developing this LipoFlow, because instead of just focusing on protein alone, but having protein and making sure that the other things in the powder support the protein and support your metabolism and help your body fight inflammation. That's why LipoFlow has quite a lot of fiber in it, the antioxidants in it, and making sure there are not any nasty fillers or sugars and things like that, because we want to work on helping the body fight chronic inflammation as we get older. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And Joe, you do take LipoFlow, right?
I do. And I take LipoFlow. I tend to change the dosage, Flora.
Yeah, sure.
So I only take half of the recommended dosage. So I'll take one scoop
exactly.
in the afternoon. Because that's where I feel my blood sugar levels sort of start to fall off around about 3 o'clock. And we've talked about, that's where you'd literally, you'd want to go and have like a chocolate or a cup of coffee or something like that. All things that are not great to have in excess amounts. And so I find that by having just one scoop with 200 mils of water, keeps me full until dinner time.
Which is great. Yeah.
But I'm still hungry for dinner.
Exactly.
At 6 o'clock.
Which is good because it's good that you're using that, helping that balance. It's quite important as well, and making sure that what you're taking is the right thing. So with LipoFlow, at least if you take it, you're having all those like the fiber, the antioxidants, the protein, without really going out to take, like chocolate or biscuit or something like that, and to help that metabolism work the right way. So, which is quite good. So that's what we're trying to encourage people to do, taking the right thing, reading your labels, knowing what you're taking, and consciously making sure that you're taking what your body needs. All right? As an average, I tell people, if you're not taking 1 gram per kilogram body weight of protein a day, you haven't started. And this cannot be in just one meal. It has to be spread across. And that's why I tell people LipoFlow is not just one magic bullet on its own. It needs to be accompanied with a very good lifestyle and healthy diet in general.
And you will have to be very consistent, definitely.
Yeah, so it's all about consistency. It's not just all about structure, but consistency, matters. Small changes do help a long way. And not feeling too stressed about it, just incorporate into your lifestyle and just the healthy pattern. That's all. And making sure you sleep the right time, move your body, eat right, and then help your mental health.
So for instance, if especially for those people who are just going some stressful time, having some mental health issues, and definitely I have seen that some people, when they are stressed, they eat a lot, and some people, they are not stressed, or they don't eat much, or sometimes they lose their diet or hunger, or what do you suggest? For instance, if somebody is really stressed and he or she is already not eating at all, he's not eating like 3 times a day, but that person is taking only the LipoFlow. Do you think it's gonna fulfill your nutrition?
You mean take LipoFlow morning, afternoon, night?
Yeah.
LipoFlow morning, afternoon, night.
No, not the exact dose, the recommended dose. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend for people to just live their life on LipoFlow morning, afternoon, and night. No, I think that would be quite boring, and that's not sustainable. You need to develop a good lifestyle. So if somebody is struggling with their mental health or is so stressed and stuff like that, yes, having LipoFlow, it's a good addition. It does help you not to feel hungry and snack on those bad foods. So, but you should still complement it with eating well. And in that case, I think it's really important the person sees her GP or his GP, maybe talking with a psychologist is not a bad idea as well, because sometimes it can just be all coming from the mind, so addressing the mental health is very, very important. Yes, I know LipoFlow has this probiotic lactose in it, which does help with mental health because it helps with the gut-brain axis, but it's not a medication. It's probiotic addition to your food, which is good. But to be honest, if your mental health is down, you don't just sit down. I think it's good to encourage the person to go and see a psychologist and talk things over.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And thank you so much for the information, Dr. Flora. Okay. It helped a lot, especially for those people who are the age of 40s. And thank you, Joe, for sharing your experience. And definitely you're going to keep your healthy lifestyle further.
Yeah, really. Joe, I really like how you're so proactive about this. It's very, very good. And I think if you continue this way, you will have a smooth ride towards the next decades to come.
Can only hope for.
Yeah. So today we focus only the people with the age of 40s, but
Yes.
hopefully in the next podcast, we'll be focusing on the further ages, 50s, 60s, or 80s, because I believe every age needs help or information more. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure.